Hi everyone. Today I am a student observing this morning, first through third hour, so I figured I would give you a few little tips and tricks on today's lesson about systems of linear equations. So in this case, we're looking at a whole bunch of different story problems numbered 1 through 11. You're going to see all of these posted on my Weebly. I do not have a handout today, so you're going to have to solve these ones on a separate sheet of paper. So make sure that you pull up my Weebly and click on the attachment that you see under today's date, December 5th. So first of all of these questions are equations, which means they will be equal signs. Every story problem on your test is going to have equal signs, not inequalities. So we're sort of switching gears back to what we did before 5.5 and 5.6. So as you look at all of these different questions, since they're systems of linear equations, you should have two equations for each one of these problems. Typically, you're going to see, much like number 1, two different companies or two different situations. So the first situation that we're going to deal with here is the lawn and garden, where we have $30 per cubic yard plus, remember that's a plus sign, a $30 delivery fee. So if we're doing lawn and garden, we have a y is equal to 30x plus 30. Whenever I see the word per, I know that this is my slope. Whenever we have some sort of fee, that's going to be my y-intercept. So once again, if we're looking at this second equation for Yard Depot, you're going to have something very similar happening where we have y is equal to $25 per cubic yard. So that would be 25x and then a $55 delivery fee. So plus $55 for a delivery fee. So it says, for how many cubic yards will the cost be the same? Once I have my system of equations, we need to solve it. So remember, there's two different ways you can do this. You can do substitution, where I take this and I plug in my new expression for y, so I set the two sides equal to each other. This is going to be your best bet when you have two different equations in slope-intercept form. This will be the best and most easy way to solve systems of equations, is setting the two sides equal to each other. So once I do this, I can solve for x by subtracting 30 from both sides and then subtracting 25x from both sides to get 5x is equal to 25. So if x is equal to 5 yards, remember this is yards, x is yards, what's the cost going to be? So if I have x, that means I need to plug it back in to find my y. So in this case, I have y is equal to 30 times 5. Sorry, my pen is running out of ink. So I have 30 times 5 plus 30. So my total cost is going to be 150 plus 30, which is $180. So notice how all of these questions are going to involve two equations, and then typically they're going to ask you to solve it. Okay? In this next question, it's a little bit tricky. You have two different situations once again. So you have what the school band is going to have you do. So they're selling the carnations for $2 each. That's going to be your first equation. The second equation has to do with the florist. So if we're looking at our first equation, the school band is going to sell each carnation for $2 a piece. So similarly to the word per, whenever you see the word each, that also is going to represent your slope. However, if you look at the florist is selling those carnations to us at 50 cents a piece, and then she's adding a delivery charge of $16. So what you're going to need to do is graph these two equations. So y is equal to 2x up 2 over 1. You can extend, right? And then our slope, 0.5, is also a rise over run 1/2. So if we have 16, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and you can extend that line as well. See where they intersect, and then talk about your solution, okay? I want to remind you all that there will be story problems on your test, so please, please, please make sure that you're checking these questions out and going through them thoroughly and talking to each other about them. Looking on to the next group of questions, you can make up any sort of situation for these problems in number 3. So remember, 3 is your slope, which is always a rate for something. And then this is always sort of like an initial amount for your y-intercept. So you can talk about, I started at 10 pages in my book and I was reading 3 pages per hour. Or I was talking about the cost of renting a jet ski or anything along those lines, but make sure that you write up a story here. If you look at this next question, I'll give you a little hint. Number 4 is just like number 1, where you're going to have 2 different y equals equations, one for the Nuremberg and then one for the true green. I'm sorry. So you're going to have one equation for true green lawn care, and then you're also going to have one for green lawn. So you're going to have to write 2 different y equals equations. Remember, the word per month means your slope, and then you have a startup fee, and then you have the same thing for equation number 2, right? Remember, per means slope. Once you write your 2, in part A, it's asking you to solve the system. So we're finding the intersection point. And then this one is asking if you only use 6 months, which is the better option. Well, if you don't know, why don't you plug this in and see which is cheaper. So that's my hint to you on number 4. All right, number 5 is very similar to number 1 and number 4. So I'll leave you with that. If you watched the video for number 1 and just watched my tips on number 4, number 5 should be a breeze. Okay? Number 6 is one of these types of problems way back from chapter 1 where you have to know some key language about mathematics. If we're talking about the sum of 2 numbers, that means we're adding 2 numbers. If you remember, the word number represents a variable. And if we have 2 variables, let's just say x and y. So this first equation is saying the sum of any 2 numbers, x and y, is 50. This next part of the equation, the first number, let's call it x. The word is 43 less than. Remember, when we do the word less than, we have to take it away at the end. And then we have the words twice the second number. The word twice means 2 times the second number. So once I have both equations here, I'm going to need to solve my system. Now you have 2 options. So the first one you can substitute by plugging in 2x minus 3, or I'm sorry, 2y minus 43 in for x. So we would have x plus y is equal to 50. And then we're going to plug in this new expression, 2y minus 43 in for x, and then we can solve for both. The second option that we could do is eliminate. But first we would need to line everything up correctly, right? So instead of having x is equal to 2y minus 43, we're going to have to subtract the 2y from both sides to get this in standard form. And then we will have our two different equations that we could eliminate with. So either way, you're going to eliminate with these two equations, or you can substitute in for x and say I have 2y minus 43 plus y is equal to 50. And then solve for y. Or you eliminate either x or y and then solve for x. Okay? So you don't have to do both methods. I want you to try either one, but that's just a good jump start for you. We have our system of equations, and then you have to figure out how to solve them. Okay? There's a lot of different questions on this one that are kind of tricky. I personally think number 7 is the trickiest. So I will help you write one of the equations, and then you will have to write the other one. So this one is a hard one. So I'm going to have you figure out how to write the equation for 20 total coins in the jar, but we need an equation about the total number of money, and then we need an equation about the total number of coins. Okay. I'm going to show you the equation for the total amount of money. It says the total value that we have is $1.40. And remember, we have nickels and dimes, right? Well, isn't a nickel worth 5 cents and a dime worth 10 cents? So we're going to multiply 5 cents for every nickel and 10 cents for every dime, and it should add up to 140 cents or $1.40. Okay? Then you'll have to figure out what equation should I do for the total number of coins in the jar. It should be equal to 20. What needs to go here? All right. Last but not least, and then I'll let you try 9, 10, and 11 on your own. We have a problem about a neighborhood picnic. So they're donating $20 worth of food to the picnic. It says the Treeweiler family is bringing 12 packages of buns. The hamburger buns cost $2 per package, and the hot dog buns cost $1.50 per package. How many of each package did they buy? So, once again, we need an equation about money, and we need an equation about total number. If we're looking at the money, I see 3 different numbers for money. The total amount spent has got to be 20, right? And then it says hamburger buns cost $2. Let's call hamburgers X. And then hot dog buns, let's call them Y, is $1.50. If we're looking for a total number of packages, they told us that our total number of packages is 12. I think we could buy hamburger and hot dog buns, and we'll have some sort of combination of both. So now if I'm trying to solve this system, it looks like both of my equations are in standard form. So I'm going to have to eliminate. However, it looks like I don't have the same number and opposite sign for any of my variables, so I'm going to multiply the second equation by -2. I get 2x plus 1.5y is equal to 20. And then -2x minus 2y is equal to -24. When I add these two equations together, I should get -0.5y is equal to -4. And then I can solve for y by dividing by -0.5. And I should get y is equal to 8. So if 8 is the number of hot dogs, you can figure out the number of hamburger buns. All right, I wish you luck. Hopefully that gives you a really good start on these problems. I would love to see you all get as far as you can on this today for homework. All right, fabulous.